Good evening. Call the meeting to order and note that the current members of council are all present, and in a few minutes we'll have one more member of council to show us present. So that's the first thing we're going to do tonight. I'm going to welcome our guests and ask the clerk to have the declaration of office from Ms. Kathy Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Kathy, I would like to welcome to the front and take your oath of office. So I'm going to get you to read this declaration from here. And when you're done, I will ask you to sign the bottom. The pen is here and it is sanitized.
Okay. I, Catherine Cannon, having been appointed to the office of councillor in the municipality of Wawa, do solemnly promise and declare that I will truly, faithfully, impartially exercise this office to the best of my knowledge and ability. I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of this office in a biased, corrupt, or in any other improper manner. I will disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II or the reigning sovereign for the time being. And I make this solemn promise and declaration consistently believing it to be true and knowing that it is of the same force and effect as if made under oath.
Okay, thank you. Can I get you to sign where it's the signature of the clerk? Do you want to just look up one would like to take the picture? Thank you.
With my glasses, all you have.
I'll make it official with your signature, Kathy.
Yes, it does. So congratulations. I'm going to just elbow bump. Thank you. Thank you.
Where's the cupcake?
Yeah.
Thank you, Councilor Shason.
Well, we certainly are grateful that you said yes and joined us on council. Being a councillor is it's a very worthy, noble position in our community, and to serve our residents makes us, I think, very proud of the work we do, and you should be very proud of being able to say yes and be ready to serve your community. So welcome, and we look forward to a very good year. And this time next year, well, you'll have made a decision whether or not you want more of this kind of stuff. So it'll take you a whole year to figure it out. So thank you. Item 2, disclosure of pecuniary interests. Someone as old as me took high school Latin, and the Latin word for money is pecunia. And we've used a lot of Latin words to form the English language, and that's where pecuniary comes from. It means money interest.
Is that why it's so hard to say?
Yeah, it
And
would have
that
been a
was
lot
the
easier
only
to
word I
just.
was worried about.
Yeah, it certainly would have been a lot easier. I'd say you just use the word money. Well, I guess we could take our masks off. Get all staff in here.
Yeah, they apologize. They
Ah,
got
no
Great
problem.
Danes waiting at camp.
Yeah.
Not a problem.
The approval of the agenda, moved by Councillor Tate, that we approve the agenda for our corporate planning meeting. All in favor? Carried. Delegations and presentation. This evening, I'd like to welcome Mr. Shah Mohammed, Economic Developer Director, who will give us a presentation on the Wawa H-friendly plan. So welcome, Shah, and please go ahead with your presentation.
Great, thank you very much, Mayor Rody. I think I have the ability to share. Give me one moment here while I just quickly set this up.
I reviewed my package. I have all of the handouts for Shaw, but they're not on this.
Okay, can everyone,
We
see?
Yeah, we can see that, Shaw.
Oh, okay, perfect. Thank you.
Right now,
Well, it was there, but it just disappeared.
Tell me. To
Oh.
open.
you need to reopen your PowerPoint, please.
Oh, do I? Okay.
It's there. I can see it at the bottom of your screen.
I think it might be, is it this one?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay, perfect. Can everyone see that? Is that okay?
Yes.
Great. Okay, great. Well, thank you very much, Mayor Rody, councillors, for the opportunity to present tonight on the age-friendly plan. I think the first off, I'd like to just start with first of all, just an apology to say that this item actually should have gone to council previous to it being released to the public. Maury O'Neill raised this at the last board meeting, and I profusely apologized to her at that time and to the board as well. And I'd like to just reiterate that apology here. This should have gone to council prior to it being released, and I would offer this and just to say that it was a very rushed August. We were trying to get through many things, and it slipped by. So again, the apology. Okay, so getting into the grant. So thanks for the opportunity to present tonight on the age-friendly Wobble plan and the successful completion of the grant. The grant had three key components to it. There were a series of workshops on technology that were led by the Wawa Literacy the Adult Learning Center, a series of workshops on elder abuse, and maybe to say here that all of these were identified as COVID responses, that the grant was really focused on meeting seniors' needs because of COVID. So the series of technology workshops were about connecting seniors to their families and to their community using technology, obviously because of COVID self-isolation. The series of workshops on elder abuse were really around the point that elder abuse had increased tremendously over the course of the pandemic, mainly because a lot of individuals were staying at home who would not usually have been at home. And so where there was no elder abuse at all, some started, and where other, there was existing issues, they were further amplified. And so the elder abuse piece was identified as an issue and was addressed here. And then the last part of it was a report card and an updated Wawa age-friendly plan, all of which were completed within within the scope of the budget and the time allocated for the grant. I'd like to say, although I am here presenting on this project, I am but one member of a united team, united cohesive team. Kieran Cloakers, Ellen McKenzie, Michael Reed, and Ali Amos directly working for the Wawa EDC. And then Anya Schweitzer and Bonnie Schroeder, who also were part of our team. They all play key roles in assuring that this grant was completed successfully and on time, and a huge thank you to all of them. Okay, moving on to the next slide here. We would also like to thank the individuals mentioned here: Andy Stevens from the Wawa Age-Friendly Committee, Marianne Pearson from the Wawa Age-Friendly Committee and Seniors Solution Council, Carol Shalikoff from the Wawa Age-Friendly Committee and Wawa Seniors Goose Club, Darlene Trovarello from Red Cross, Rochelle Parsons from on RN and Home and Community Care Support Services from the Northeast, Jolene Binda, RN, BSCN, Geriatric Program Coordinator, Wawa Family Health Team, and CAO Maury O'Neill from the Municipality of Wawa. So the actual grant itself was very comprehensive in its approach. There was a survey that was used within Wawa. There was several focus groups that were held. And then there was a complete literature review that was done on towns with similar populations and similar demographics to kind of pull together the best of the best for our plan moving forward. So if I could refer to page 10 of the grant, there's 5 priority goals. And there were 4 new goals. Of course, I'm sharing my screen, so I'm now unable to locate them on there. But I'd like to those to be read off. And you can see that the goals themselves. I don't know if maybe I'm able to actually do this and stop sharing here, and just do a quick share of this other screen, which actually has. Here it is. Here, no, here it is. Here. See that? Sorry, can everyone see the plan on the screen?
Could decrease the size.
Mr. Mohammed, could you decrease the size on your screen
I will try. Let's see.
document using the Zoom? That's too large.
Is that better?
No, that's better.
Okay. Okay, great. Is that legible?
Yes, it is. Thank
Okay.
you.
Perfect. Thank you. So I just want to skip through here to the section on page 10. It is. And so the major. Let's see here. Here's here. So using the feedback and ideas generated through the consultation session, these 5 goals emerged as higher priority from the 15 proposed goals. So they are here: increase awareness of existing health and related programs for seniors, e.g. home adoption, home adaptations, travel grants, Red Cross, mental health. Let me see if I'm reading this correctly. E.g. adoptions, travel grants, Red Cross, mental health, from the health unit, home care and community support, and then fitness classes, etc. So there's some examples there. Identify housing needs and the gaps and define strategies to address local needs. Examine the options for both market and non-market housing along the continuum from independent housing forms to supported living and long-term care. Hire a WAWA senior advocate to assist seniors to fill out forms, understand programs, host workshops, organize events, and implement age-friendly action plan and advocate. Provide a delivery service through WAWA Transit or volunteers for medicines, food, and other essentials. And the last one there, increase communication and education for all seniors about events and programs through electronic communication board placed in high traffic areas within the community. There were 4 additional goals that were added based on this analysis. The first one being to establish a coalition to advocate for increased health services with an emphasis to recruit and retain nurses and PSWs and extend the community paramedicine program. This topic actually came up at the last network meeting. Actually, it was the first network meeting that had happened in a while. So we're pursuing that at this committee. Identify, say we being the EDC. Identify and secure funding from municipal, provincial, and federal sources to implement the plan. And here we're really looking for that the funding to actually pay an advocate to be on the ground and actually commit on the plan. Designate fund a bilingual advocate. So that's so identifying the sources to actually fund this position, but also other parts of the plan itself. The funding also coming from municipal, provincial, and federal sources. And then identify and assess ongoing local and regional opportunities to embed age-friendly principles, e.g. official plan, community safety and well-being plan, public health plan, and livability report cards. The rest of the report actually breaks down. So these, out of these priorities, these 9 that are identified here, they go into detail in the charts: housing, transportation, door spaces and buildings, social participation and recreation, health and support services, and communication and education. So those really being kind of the major ones. Out of this also came a report card where these were reflected, kind of to give a synopsis of both the reflection on what had happened previously and where we delivered. We being WAWA delivered on making sure that some of these things were covered off, and there was some movement based from the last plan to this one. And then the actual highlights or goals of the new plan were included in that report card. And that got mailed out to everybody within Wawa. I think there were 1,200 individuals on the mailing list that that had gone out to. So overall, a very successful grant. And here we are at a place now where we have the final document presenting to council. And I would open the floor up at this point for any questions or comments.
Any questions from members of council? Chuck, could you just go over that one line? You said it was one of the last things that came up with regards to medical recruitment.
Oh, right. Sorry, medical recruitment. Yes. So, right. Let's just go back to the. So establish a coalition to advocate for increased health services with an emphasis to recruit and retain nurses and PSWs and extend the community paramedicine program. So that was one of the new four. So based on the analysis of the community plans and pressing needs identified in the focus group, 4 new goals were suggested to be added. During the final session, participants were asked to rank each new priority from strongly agree to strongly disagree, and are listed by order of importance below. So the first one, I mean, this was a major one that had come up.
Maybe just explain that a bit more. I know I sit on the retention and attraction committee for that's involved with Lady Dunn Health Center and the other groups at the hospital, as well as municipalities and some businesses. So are you looking at a recruitment of nurses and medical professionals that work outside of the hospital, that work within the community and other organizations in the community?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I've been sitting on that. So it's the network. I can't remember the full name of the table, but it's led by gosh, her name escapes me. She's the head of the Wawa. Dresky, Savannah Dresky. We haven't met for the last, I would say, 9 months. And so it's been a bit of a break, but when we came back most recently, there were items that were brought up. One of these items were around this recruitment and making sure that there was housing and things available. And there was a small discussion. Of course, we didn't get into it completely, but we, as the EDC, I put myself forward and put the EDC forward to say, we're here to help on this end. So further discussion needs to be had. But I'd love to hear, I mean, that there's other, as you say, there's other committees that are taking this on, and potentially it is now maybe kind of moving together with them and seeing how best we can utilize resources here to make this happen, and what the needs are, identifying the needs and then executing on that.
Hey, thank you. I just would hate to see a duplication of energies here trying to get the same job done. I know with our committee, we just had a video done. Highlighting being a medical professional working in Wawa, showing some of the surrounding area to try to look at both the professional life of a doctor, as well as some of the recreational opportunities that are available to them once they're here. So certainly, there's we meet fairly regularly, and it would be good to make sure that we're not duplicating our efforts here or applying for the same kind of grants or monies to help support the effort.
Absolutely. And as I'm coming into this, Mayor Rody, I'm realizing that clearly this committee exists. Kadian was at the meeting itself, and so was Savannah. Do either of them sit on the round table, or on the committee that you're referencing?
Kadian is on the chairs, one of the chairs of our committee.
Great. Okay, so I'm pretty certain then there will be definitely crosstalk, and there will definitely not be any duplication here.
Okay. So are you, I don't see any questions. Were you ready to talk about other parts of your plan, or is that pretty well summed up?
I think that does sum it up. I do, let's see here if I can just jump back. Forgive me, I'm not used to doing this dual screen thing. And okay, can we, oh, I see. Be back. Can you see accomplishments here?
No.
No, the screen hasn't changed.
Okay. Stop share. And then has that changed anything?
Yes, it did.
Okay.
We're at next steps on the screen.
Okay, great. Okay, let's just back up here. Okay, right. So that was the progression. So next steps. So this was one of the exercises that was done through the consult with Bonnie. And you can see here, she took this now, wow, and how. This was part of, I believe, the focus groups. And you can see kind of what had come out here: add more accessible parking, seating, and rest benches with backs on them, hire full-time permanent advocate navigator, promote services for seniors such as phone link and telephone assurance program. And the last one there being repeat the tech training with the Literacy Center, which seems to be it was really popular, and they were oversubscribed, so it would go off well again. Under the WOW section, increase accessibility of buildings, expand on the Goose Seniors Center with drop-in, and increase access to volunteer drivers. And then on the how, do more of everything. Address shortage of health human resources, especially home care nurses and PSWs with wage parity. Provide outreach to people with complex needs to stay home, and provide more assisted living. So in addition to next steps, address the housing needs here, stay in home or close to family, emotional attachment to home, make it easier for people to stay in their home for more PSW service, make it an attractive career, and improve and retain staff. A lot of maybe duplication, or you hear it, the same thing coming up again and again in the different. This was a synopsis of the report pulled together by Ellen. Encourage a culture of helping others to support and support for volunteering. And I cited volunteer burnout being an issue. Support Indigenous older people on and off reserve. Get rid of COVID. Yet there was a request to have some of the services due to COVID precautions continue, such as seniors hours at local business and municipal services. And support and liaise with community leaders. And you can see the full plan there. So that's pretty much the end of the presentation here. I think the majority of the work was done, as I say, by the committee. The EDC really played a role of stewarding the different pieces of the grant together, and then with the documentation, really kind of taking everything that came back from Bonnie, the committee through Bonnie, and that whole consultation process, putting it into a nice branded package. Working with Anya to generate a bit of a brand there and the whole marketing and media piece for the whole campaign. And then delivering this product as you see it, both in the report card format that was mailed out and then the attached plan. So at this time, I'd like to put forward the plan to be adopted by council as a plan that would be executed on in the next 4 years between 2021 and 2025 with the EDC and other organizations that participated in developing the plan, playing a key role in helping to bring that plan to life through actions.
Well, thank you. Just a comment on the request to get benches with backs. We have new benches, new flower pots that aren't being pushed over or destroyed. But one of the complaints we had when we had the benches with backs were that people wanted facing in different directions. most of them, I think all of them actually were set up so that they faced the business. And then we had complaints that, "Well, I like to sit and watch the cars go by and see what's happening on Broadway." So one of the things you realize is it's extremely hard to please everybody, but we'll certainly take that into consideration when we're ready to replace these benches that we can put, and maybe get the odd one with that so people can rest. I can understand that.
Where can we get a copy of this report?
It was attached to your council agenda package, plus I believe we'll upload it on the Wawa website, so I can send you a
It's
link.
not attached to tonight's stuff, but I did read it on the weekend when I was in, but I don't have
Oh.
it attached.
The
as part of
plan.
my presentation.
Okay, I'll make sure I share it tomorrow.
Well, thank you very much, Shaw. We appreciate the work and certainly thank your committee members. I know when we initially started this committee in 2015, we had some goals of getting those senior apartments and they're here now. We certainly appreciate that. And there's definitely a committee where you can actually see that some of the work has been completed, and there's certainly more work to do as well as a larger and larger senior population as years go by. We need to meet their needs, and we'll certainly work on that. So again, thank you, and thank your committee members, and that report will come to council for adoption
On the 19th.
on the 19th. Thank you. So thank
Great.
you, Sean.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Maury. Thank you very much, Mayor Rhodey and councilors. Cheers.
Okay.
Now, to leave,
Patty?
can you take control?
Yes.
I just have a question about that. Adopt the resolution, we just adopt it in principle.
We can, it's not on this evening's regular meeting for adoption, to provide council with as an opportunity to review, and
Only when it comes up on the ninth,
yeah, we can adopt it in principle.
things in there that better.
Well, there's certainly things in there that are not the responsibility of the municipality. And I think we want to be clear that that's not our goal to do that. So, I think the resolution can be worded in such a way that, where financially possible, or certain things that you would like to do. But I don't think we're going to take down our new benches.
Well, even hiring somebody, I mean,
That, they're. I'll talk with CEO and clerk, and we'll get a word.
Yeah, what is it they want?
Yeah,
yeah, we can accept the plan, but we're not gonna.
adopted
Yeah.
for total implementation.
Yeah. We just do it as, okay, nice, okay, go ahead and do it.
Okay, so item number 3, approval agenda, moved by Councillor Hatfield that we approve, approve the minutes of September 21st. All in favor? It's carried, thank you. There's no business arising from the minutes. Under new business, the first item is a letter to support third annual Ice Candle Celebration Day. It's been decided that will be Sunday, December 26th. This is an excellent activity, and we certainly thank Bill and the committee members for the work they do. And I don't think we have an issue there. Will that come to for resolution in the regular?
Yes.
Any other comments about that?
No, I think it's well done. That one comment to make that we have a new deputy chair, Linda Smith, who's still good, and she's great for us. And I have a great team up there. They're really works. We're working together. What a beautiful hours. Guys, they up there help us push and tell everybody about it. We're trying to push out some candles for Christmas.
Could you give me some sort of idea what you've done with the funds so far?
We're still ideas, but we didn't spend nothing yet, only spending, increase it more. We get some stuff that's coming up planned, but we can't do it. That COVID stopped us from doing a lot of stuff. And so that's,
Yeah, I think one of the things you want to do is to work on this garden there by the Legion
yeah,
area, and that's one of the projects they're hoping to get some.
I had the wood donated.
Yeah.
So I fell through because I'm in dispute somewhere. So we're just still waiting.
Legion area?
There's a section where a lot of Legion members are buried,
Mhm.
right back there, and then there's flower garden. So they want to do some work to improve that flower garden.
I haven't been up there.
There's lots coming.
Yeah, that's
When
for
they
people.
did the very first one, we were out early. So it wasn't dark yet, and it was on a Saturday, and Wayne and I, after church started, we took a drive out there. It was really beautiful. It was real dark, and all the candles were still lit, and it was really, really nice.
Same thing this year.
Great. So I'll come up and later in our regular 7.2 Wayfinder strategic plan, council input. So CEO has put together a few pages, kind of outlining some of the stuff from our presentation last Tuesday. We speak to them.
Yes, thank you. And this is following the presentation by the Wayfinders Group to Council last Tuesday on the strategic plan input so far that was obtained from stakeholders and staff, and the summary of the conclusions that they made. Two of the questions left for council from the consultants were for council to discuss and possibly determine a vision statement for the plan and a mission statement, as well as to either define or accept their proposed core value statement. So this is a follow-up to hopefully provide and guide council with the information that it might require to determine a vision statement. So I wanted to provide this to council to first set out, the council had done a 2020-2022 mini strategic plan when we met last year. And to set the stage for developing a vision statement, council aspired to achieve last year these following goals: to be fiscally responsible, to efficiently deliver essential programs and services at the best cost and value for residents. Council also really wanted to continually focus on doing things better throughout the organization, and therefore set out some strategies, including doing an organizational review to make sure that we were focused on striving to provide efficient and cost-effective operations. Council also indicated that it really valued its workforce and therefore wanted policies and opportunities to demonstrate how we value and trust each other and work with our diversity. So a number of programs were implemented over the last year to indicate council's commitment to that. Council also wanted to improve its communications and communicate with not only the staff and employees and committee members and volunteers, but with the community. Out of that came a number of recommended priorities. And for one, we have a new website that we won an award for. And that is one way we're improving our communications. And that council broadly for the future wanted to prepare a sustainable future for our communities and for the residents' well-being. So if we reflect on that, maybe that'll help council determine a vision statement. And so the vision statement council put together last year was the municipality of Wawa is a progressive, sustainable community providing a range of services for the well-being of its residents. And the proposed vision statement based on council's discussion last week for your consideration is the municipality of Wawa is a sustainable community that is focused on providing essential and affordable programs and services that contribute to the well-being of its residents. So the new proposed vision statement is very similar to the one of last year, but it integrates a few keywords such as essential and affordable, because that relates back to being fiscally responsible. It includes contributing to the well-being of its residents. That goes back to providing a sustainable future and communicating. And so I put this to council for consideration as its vision statement. But certainly, Mayor and Council, there's opportunity to reflect on this and either get together again or to request input through email and take any suggestions. We have some time from the consultants to think about the vision statement.
Yeah, it's good, but I made it even shorter. I would just say municipality of Wawa is a sustainable community providing essential and affordable programs and services for its residents.
Better those words than I have. I like the one that you stand in the page. I like that.
So maybe something to think about. The consultants also asked for confirmation of a mission statement, and a mission statement is, why do we exist? That's what you're trying to answer. So the mission statement is municipal council and its employees proudly serve the community by providing a balanced range of sustainable, affordable, and necessary core municipal services programs that meet residents' needs. So this is a statement about why does this corporation exist? And then I've included a list of core values. This reflects back to the strategic plan workshop, and the list of values maybe wordsmithed a little with some definitions. So when we say our core values as an organization and council is that we value integrity and we value respect, we value trust. I've put a little wording to it so we understand as councillors and employees what that really means. So the core values that staff is recommending are integrity and respect. We value teamwork and collaboration, not just with each other, with our volunteers and our external and internal relationships. We really value excellent customer service, and we're always striving for what we call gold standard customer service. So we endeavor to improve our communications internally, externally, but also to respond to all inquiries as quickly as possible. We also value the fiscal responsibility and sustainability of our organization, and we're doing that through doing more long-term planning, asset management planning, budgeting over the longer term. So we really value that. And lastly, we value accountability, that we all are accountable for ourselves. We're also accountable for our employees and our customers. So we strive to set out annual performance measures. We set out objectives by council, by supervisors, and we communicate the outcomes at the same time, celebrate our accomplishments when we can. So again, I know this is a lot for digesting tonight, Mayor and Council, but we put this forward for your consideration as core values and absolutely have time for reflection and input from Council.
Mary, did you say that you had a place where you are the team, like the workers work closely with the volunteers? Did you say that?
I'm not exactly in those words. I just say we value teamwork and collaboration. We really are valuing everything that we do. And underneath, I ad-libbed, but what I wrote specifically was that we foster environment where equity, where people are included, valued, and treated with dignity and fairness, and work together for the benefit of the community. We build internal and external relationships to achieve common goals.
Because it's really important that people understand that we work well with them.
I think if you look at the mission statement, I like the idea that we've included the employees, that we could consider municipal council its employees and volunteers. Because when it comes to some of the programs, if we're looking for the volunteers, most of those programs don't exist. So for the sake of adding another word, it takes in a lot of people that you could work for our community and make our community talk about a great place to raise children and live. It's volunteers and programs that are happening here.
And that's what we're strong on.
So,
Without them.
yeah, exactly. Nothing would be happening. So Maureen, do you want us to go through this, write down ideas, and do you want to share those ideas with more. And then we will have something based on all the input from council, rewrite it and submit it to the wayfinders.
Yeah, and I absolutely am looking for council's input on the Appendix A. This is a summary of the proposed list of key priorities that was included in the workshops. We are, as a staff, working on them and identifying other priorities that we believe should be included, even if they weren't included in wayfinders. And we would look for council's input, particularly if there are priorities council wanted to ensure we implemented over the next year or the last term of this council. So absolutely looking for council's input. So I will share this through an email and look forward to your input.
Thank you. Item number 7.3, Low Arts Council, we have a letter requesting that the municipal representative be part of that council. In terms of policies, like we have municipal representation on our committees and on boards that are related to the operation of municipality, state services, and that's public health. What is is there any policy with regards to having council members sit on other committees that are not necessarily the council committee?
Well, Mr. Mayor, that's up to council. If they wish to appoint a member to an outside committee, it's basically a volunteer. We don't necessarily have to appoint anyone, but it's at the will of the council. If they choose to appoint somebody, they can.
So if there's an interest by a council member in this particular committee and the things they do, so I'll throw that open to council if someone is interested in being a rep on it. Now, if you consider the person once appointed by council that they're representing council, or
That's correct. They would be representing council
Okay.
if it's a resolution of council.
Okay.
Mayor, could you explain to me just a little bit about what this committee is about?
I don't have a whole lot of background. I know they're trying to, I think in some ways they're trying to bring back what was in Wawa several years ago when there was an arts organization that brought in things for children as well as adult presentation, you know, the Thunder Bay Symphony, the Rankins.
We did a really good job.
So
Place
I,
to show their art,
yeah.
to display.
Yeah, and council through the Community Development Committee supported that organization with funding to help. There's a grand piano somewhere in town that will help fund that was used whenever they had presentations. I think it's self-possible. So that would be it. So something for council members to consider, and if you're interested, if you could let Kathy know, and Kathy can prepare a resolution, and we can notify Lisa.
Mr. Mayor, I did receive an email from Ms. Volkers with respect to the committee. And she does outline what the mandate is, the mission. And if you wish, I could read that.
Okay.
Maybe
please.
that may
Yeah,
be
that'll help.
helpful. So the mandate of the Wawa Art Council, it's a nonprofit organization determined to nurture, foster, promote, support, advocate, encourage, mentor, and grow the arts in Wawa and surrounding areas in an all-inclusive and sustainable manner. One that not only recognizes the role of arts in the regional economic driver, but it champions the arts as an integral component in the quality of life in the community or region. The mission is to partner with the municipality of Wawa, Mishpachatan First Nation, individual artists, and arts and culture organizations developing, sustaining, and coordinating dynamic and vibrant arts and culture community for Wawa and the surrounding area. The vision is to create a vibrant arts community and become a Northern Ontario artistic hub to nurture and support an all-inclusive environment where creativity has a voice. And then she indicated that the articles of incorporation One is to enrich the lives of residents of Wawa and surrounding areas by increasing awareness and appreciation of the arts in their diverse forms. To enrich the lives of residents of Wawa and surrounding areas by increasing access to the arts in their diverse forms through events, exhibits, workshops, and various programming. To connect artists with their community through networking opportunities and build artist capabilities by promoting the commerce of arts, including increased access to related grants, and to nurture, foster, and promote the development of and excellence in the arts by providing the facilities to enrich artists to train, produce, and exhibit their crafts where such facilities are otherwise difficult to access or not available.
So they're incorporated.
They're in the process of incorporating.
I mean, one part, that's, protected.
Yes, and that's what they have indicated, that they wish to partner with the municipality.
Yeah, I just don't know how the whole picture
Yeah.
goes together.
It was a great organization before. I just don't know what they want to partner. Yes.
Yes, we'll have to obtain more information.
Yes, I would.
Yeah, and I just
Yes,
received
yeah.
this, so it's very new.
It's been going for a while to be incorporated.
Well,
We
there-
ran
there-
into some financial issues if we partner with an organization that's incorporated and then
We're responsible.
collecting funds, raising funds. How does that?
I think there would be an expectation of that, but it would all depend legally if we're partnering as a board director on a corporation. So if council appoints someone as a director on a corporation, then there's liability. If someone is appointed as a resource or another type of membership, then it might be different, but they did incorporate under an existing corporation, and that's the Wawa Entertainment Series. So they took over that incorporation. So we would have to get clarification to determine what type of representation
Okay.
their
Yeah,
council
we
could
can
be.
go back then. Thank you. Item 7.4, Information Technology Department. You have a draft copy of the disaster recovery plan. Highly technical, but we had, unfortunately, a few years ago, an experience where we did have an attack on our system and it went down. So certainly very important. I don't know, I don't have the technical expertise to comment on it. It looks very impressive and it's meeting all of our needs. It's Andrew's getting some support from the organization that's helping us with some of our IT with that.
Absolutely, and the disaster recovery plan is something that was recommended by Wayfinders. And also we had been working on already, and Anders developed this in consultation with the company we're using, IT managed municipalities out of Sudbury, in developing this plan. It is technical, but it will form part of our disaster management, emergency management plan of the municipality, because IT disasters affect us almost as much as other disasters. And we learned some really good lessons from our past experiences. So this outlines and inventories all the IT equipment we have. So we have a full inventory. It sets out the chain of command when there is a disaster, who's contacting who. And it's important for risk management for insurance coverage as well. And so we presented council as a draft and assure council that since learning from the past on how destructive losing our IT can be, we have 3 different backups going on, and we did some training today on cyber awareness with our employees to talk about what links maybe to be careful opening. We have constantly 7 days a week, 24-hour surveillance with our IT company. So we're doing everything, and that's what's outlined in the plan that we can to avoid disaster, but also this is about if there is a disaster, what steps we take. So we provide it for information and input and would bring it forward to council for adoption in the future.
Did you say this was necessary for insurance purposes.
Yes,
So we finally have insurance.
not yet, I don't believe,
We're still
cyber
working on it?
insurance. No.
No, I've been working on it for quite a few years and I get the information so far and then it stops. Like it's a funny process.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Item 7.5, technology upgrades. This is the application for.
Yeah, it is. Thank you. So the municipality in the past few years has made a lot of changes in the way of technology. So some of the key ones that came to mind for me when I was writing this report, big one is the electronic meetings that we're having right now. We're able to go online and have meetings and people are able to follow us. Staff working from home, those two both came about because of the pandemic. The implementation of the VPN network came about because staff working from home to make added security and making sure that we're on our networks and not other places. It's just a direct link. We updated the municipal website, as Maury said earlier, and won an award, so we did a great job with that. We introduced Zoom and most recently MS Teams as an internal technology, which has been working quite well. I was surprised. And so we have a relatively small administrative staff complement and a large number of tasks to accomplish within a limited budget, right, a defined budget. And so we're really always trying to look at more effective and efficient ways in which to accomplish tasks. And a good way to do it is to digitize some of these processes. So we looked at what we could do in the near future and came up with a list of a few items. So e-billing and online customer platform for property taxes was one. Continuing online meetings. The problem with the online meetings, they've been going great, but it's our understanding that people on the receiving end can't always hear us very well. And there's some issues around, I think, the speakers and the microphone system and some of those platforms. So we'd like to address that. Electronic work orders. I think I spoke to that in the last, in my last report, pardon me, when I talked about the long-term planning and the asset management plan. So electronic work orders are something that are easily tracked because they're in a database and they would definitely inform the asset management plan. So if we had an area, say a specific section of road that had constant work orders, and we could easily flag that if it was in the data set saying, wow, look at this section of the road has 20 work orders in 6 months and the rest of the town has nothing. We know it's a problem, right? So it's a good way to do that. Inspection software and e-permitting were also some of the ones that we looked at. So we're not recommending that we implement all of them because as we looked, we did discover that some things were cost prohibitive as well. So we did weigh those as well. So then we also looked to our Wayfinders report. I guess I should speak about some of the benefits of technology too. So it's holistic across departments. So the work orders, again, is a great one because we might do work orders one way here. The town garage might do work orders by shouting across the garage. I'm not sure like what their process is, right? But we all do things a little bit differently. So IT does it one way, we do it another. Water does it a little bit differently. The guys on the road do things a little differently. So to have one holistic system where everybody's doing the same thing, we understand where work orders are coming from, where they're going, who's responsible, who needs to follow up, and having that process in place would be very, very good benefit for all of us. That would reduce staff time, lower, which would really like lower the amount of time spent on medial tasks and make it more efficient. It provides an opportunity to develop processes that are efficient rather than the way we've always done it, which is kind of what I just explained. Information in one place for all users. That's the other thing. If I do something one way and Kathy does it another, we're not sure where to put our hands on information. When we have a process, it's very quick and easy to find your answers, and it just makes for a lot better process and easier to find answers and move forward with tasks. An information stream that is consistent across all departments, not just within our own. So the Municipal Wayfinders report, transformation report, also spoke to this, and their recommendation 8G01 spoke specifically to work orders and service requests. So I've been looking right now, the one that I was able to find that would work with our asset management plan is approximately $50,000 with a $9,000 annual fee. So in saying that, I personally would want to look to see what other options we had, because we always want to maximize any opportunity and reduce costs. So in addition to what was talked about in the Wayfinders report, staff identified some other areas. E-billing was a big one. For quite a few years, we've been looking at e-billing and how it could improve things. So the most obvious one is less paper, less postage, quicker staff times, that we're not stuffing envelopes and taking them down to the post office. Like, you'd be surprised at the amount of time that's spent doing that. So that software is about $20,000. And then, of course, the continued online meetings, that's one we'd really like to see move forward. So we'd like an additional OWL and an upgrade to the audio system and the speakers. So there is funding available through the implementation stream of the modernization funding. It's the third intake of the modernization funding that we've been successfully walking through for the last couple of years. So it is our request that council approves or directs us to apply in the MMAH Modernization Fund Intake 3 implementation stream, because there's 2 streams in the implementation in the Intake 3, for $100,000 to implement those technologies. So that's the request of this report.
Question?
Yes. I'm not very computer savvy, so just bear with me. Our systems, can they handle all this software?
Yes. Yeah. It actually is a module of our current system.
We do for computer banks.
So our server was updated not long ago. I think in the last year as part of our technology upgrades and
But they weren't replaced.
yes, the server was replaced, I believe, in the
Brand
last
new.
12 months. And quite a few of the finance desktop, some are laptops, some are tabletops, but quite a few of those have been. And I think that some of the clerks, but not all, but they're on for this year or next. They're on the timeline for this year or next. So yeah, we've been doing a good job of keeping track and
So,
Councillor Tate?
Yeah, this is a good thing you're looking at, because we use a different kind of program with warehousing. And we use like Maximo or SAP, and it tied the purchasing with the work orders, all that, and all in one shared drive, so anybody can go in and, you know, if you want to look at a work order that was put in, you can see the status of it, where it's going, what's happened, how much money is being charged to it, all that stuff. That's really good, because that just complements your asset program.
it
going
does.
forward. And another question I had, so of the 100,000, are we gonna have to pay a percentage of that?
The implementation stream is 75%. So we pay 25 and the grant pays 75%. And I'm requesting up to 100,000. I'm not exactly sure that it will be that much. I'm gonna work hard at getting it to be less than that.
So is this a one-time trial with these streams, these information streams that they've got now? Like, is it a one-time deal, or?
So I think
It's the third
2
time
years,
they've-
this is the third time. 2 years ago, we
They've
had the
come out with
400,000
three times.
and change 476,000, which also like we're going to be speaking to later on tonight. Because before we can apply for Intake 3, we have to show that we've used up the initial 400,000, which we have. We committed to it for the last 2 years and wrote the check down just a couple weeks ago. So that's been done. The second stream, they really pushed for reviews, and that's how we did our, I believe, Maury, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that's how we did our transformation study with Wayfinders. And then the third stream, they have 2. The third intake is either an implementation stream, which would implement some of the recommendations of the Wayfinders report, as well as internal reports. So this report, along with the Wayfinders, will go with the application as some backup for it. So, and then the second part of that was not a implementation, but a review stream. So they've allowed for another review, and that will be my next report.
Yeah.
So,
There,
yeah.
yeah. Thanks.
Thank you, Manuel, and thank you, Council, for your
Thank you.
questions. 7.6 is the water and wastewater master plan.
So I'll just continue.
Yes.
Yeah, so as I was just saying, the other part of the intake 3 is the review stream. So and this one was a little bit hard for me to wrap my head around, because although it is a review stream, it's also an implementation stream, because it's implementing one of the recommendations of the wayfinders was to do a review. So so the municipality with wayfinders, with the transformation study, identified as one of their concerns was that strategic master and long range planning was a concern. So the strategic planning, that concern was addressed by wayfinders. We're working right now on the strategic plan with them. The long range plan was identified in the wayfinders report, but before the report even came out, like very early this year, we had identified that as an issue and a path that we wanted to go down. So we had put forward the recommendation to council, which you did accept and direct us to move forward with Watson and economists, or Watson and Associates economists. So we're currently working with them on a long range plan, both capital and operating, over 10 years. So that part is currently, it's in the works being accomplished. And that left us with the master plans left to accomplish. So master plans, really, they inform annual budgets. They help us to develop work plans and long-term goals. They keep the municipality's priorities on track. And to me, this was a really important one. They survived the transition from a current council to a future council, because we don't know how many people will continue with this council into the future council. So it's hard, without a plan, how do you know how to bring things forward? So to me, that was really important. So the one thing we discovered was we do not have a water and wastewater master plan. And we did have, Maury and I had some discussions around that, and because master plans quite often speak to the development of new areas and
Residential expansion.
There you go, thank you. And we weren't sure where we wanted to go with that, but like anything, it's always good to have a plan on the shelf, right? And how do you expand if you don't have that plan? If you're not shovel ready, how do you move forward? So the master plan will help us to achieve that. It talks about how we can enhance our services, improve our efficiencies. It anticipates costs and benefits, and like everything, it needs to inform the asset management plan. So the review ranked this plan as critical and recommended implementation within 2 to 4 years. So this third intake of the MMH modernization has to be completed by 2023. So that would fall nicely within this time frame. So the study's recommendation, the Wayfinder study recommendation, was for also to include a water financial plan. A water master plan is much more than a water financial plan. So the water financial plan would almost 100% come out of the water master plan. So by doing the water master plan, we would also achieve the water financial plan. And the third item that would be achieved is a water and wastewater rate study. So we did identify we do need to do by regulation the water financial plan, a rate study. We're fairly new with our meters, so a rate study just to confirm that we're doing things well and to see where we can do things a little different or more efficiently would be great. And it would all be encompassed within that master plan. So our recommendation here, or our request here, is that council direct staff to apply for 150,000 through the modernization review stream to retain a consultant for the development of a water and wastewater master plan. And I'm going to answer you, the review stream is 100% funded. So there's no cost on our part.
Question, if you're going to be considering residential expansions, are you also going to be considering development costs? That's something that with the plan in terms of expansion.
I think that would naturally flow from a study. For example, we had looked at applying for funding for expanding the services down the ends of Birch, Maple, I think Superior, and looping the water around. From an operational point of view, having the water dead end at the end of where there is residential development is not ideal. So we got a cost estimate just to do the two loops and connecting the end streets together. It was $500,000. So how do you raise that money? How do you recoup that money in the future? Should council ever look at developing these properties, it would also have to consider how it would recoup its costs, because now water sewer costs are treated as a separate part of our budget because we're paying for it from user fees directly related to water and sewer. So the ability to raise that money from other ways other than a grant or a local improvement charge to those properties, which is the same almost as a development fee, is something to be considered. But to what Manuela is talking about in terms of a master plan would look, if the community is going to expand, what areas, what are some estimated costs for services, and can our sewage system, what's the capacity of our sewage system? Can it accommodate it? What's the capacity of our water treatment plant? Can it accommodate? So it looks at a lot of questions around the costs and best plans to move forward if there's any growth in the community. But at the end of the day, there's a cost, and council, before I think it would move forward, any plans would have to look and answer how to pay for it, which in most communities and these examples are development fees.
Watched a news report down Southern Ontario City that the average price of a house was $750,000, but out of that, over 100,000 was development costs pertaining to it. So, yes.
Could I ask Mrs. Rowley?
Yes.
Mrs. Rowley.
No,
Sorry, Mark. The water and sewer system, the way we have it now, how is it going? I have never really heard anybody complain too much. Like, the way it's the money running and, the base fee of 150. Is it running okay?
Can I speak to that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry,
Yeah.
we did have a small surplus last year. So it was small, it was good, but it went towards rate stabilization for this year and some capital. So far it's been doing good. This is not just a rate study though, it's a water and sewer master plan.
Yeah.
So Wawa is not a new town, it's relatively old, and so is the infrastructure. So I think the goal here is to really obtain an understanding of how old is our infrastructure, how critical is that age? Because a 50-year-old pipe, if it has a 100-year lifespan, is only 50% used up, right? But if it's a 50-year pipe with a 40-year lifespan and it shows that, yes, that is really the true scenario, then we have some problems. So I think that's really the whole logistics around this water and wastewater, because it's just as important to look at what's happening with our sewage. It's more about feeding the asset management plan. What is the true state of our asset here as it pertains to water and wastewater? And like Maury said, we have to account for and pay for our water and wastewater 100% through user fees. So that's why the study is focused only on that. And then if we're going to put forward the money to do the study, then it's a good idea to plan for the future, right? So why would you not have a master plan that includes, we can open up area A, B, or C should the need arise?
That's pretty smart.
yes, Pat?
Yeah, this is very good because this gives us facts and figures, and it'll give future councils plus our council the ability to set your budgets
Mhm.
going forward. So there's no guessing. It's a fact that
Yeah.
pipe is 50 years old and it's only been planned for 20 years. So this is all great stuff.
I think it's the information that council and staff can use to do proper planning and be able to. For Kathy, when we talk about water and wastewater, it's paid for as a user fee, so that none of those costs are taken from money we collect as taxes.
Okay.
So if overnight, the number of users, we have about 1,300 users on our water system. If that were to double and our costs stayed the same, our bills would be reduced by half. But if half the people left town and the cost stayed the same, our bills would be double. So we have to, that's why we need to do this planning, because some big jobs will be coming up. A couple months ago, we talked about needing to change the intake pipe in Wallow Lake that goes into the pumping system. That'll be a significant cost, and that has to be recouped from the user fees of water wastewater. And the old section of town that has the piping, the original, I should say, the original section of town, we're still a fairly young town compared to a lot of places. Eventually there'll be some need to replace pipes that has to be planned. This is a great vehicle to be able to have a council at least look forward and know what you need to do to make it happen. So certainly, people will get support for that when it comes up in the regular. Absolutely. But any other comments from Maury or Noah? We're good. Thank you. So there's no in-camera session. Our next meeting is Tuesday, October 20th. Last moved by Kathy Cannon that we adjourned this meeting at 7:42. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. We'll wait into regular. I know I'm not getting some of those, my computer doesn't recognize me. So it's not set up, I have to set it up so that I'm just like, I'm a member of the public.
Oh, you didn't sign in, okay.
Well, I tried to sign in, but then I got to go through a whole new process. It doesn't give me
Oh,
the option right away. It just put
do you need a
my-
package?
No, I'm good. I'll just follow from screen. I read it all over again. So I'll call the meeting to order and note that we have full compliments of councilors there. Are there any disclosure of pecuniary interests? None. Approval of the agenda, we have a resolution.
Moved by Councillor Hatfield, seconded by Councillor Tate, resolved that the agenda for the regular meeting of council scheduled for Tuesday, October 5th, 2021 be approved as presented.
All in favor? Ready? Thank you. Announcements. So there are the notices of meetings to take place all the way to December the 8th. The services board. Do you have any indication on the changes yet for the services?
Nothing.
board? Nothing has come up. We have adoption of minutes, we have a resolution.
Moved by Councillor Tate, seconded by Councillor Hatfield, resolved that the following minutes of the meetings of council be adopted as presented. A, minutes of regular meeting of council held on Tuesday, September 21st, 2021, as contained on pages 1 to 8, inclusive of the minute book. B, minutes of a special meeting of council held on Tuesday, September 28th, 2021, as contained on pages 1 and 2, inclusive of the minute book.
Any questions? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Correspondence, there's 3 items there. I wish to just read over any questions, or if you have like further explanation, we can ask the clerk or the CEO. Consent agenda.
Moved by Councillor Hatfield, seconded by Councillor Tate, resolved that the items listed under consent agenda, items 8.2 to 8.7, be approved as recommended.
Any questions? All in favor? Carried. Resolution to receive the staff reports, the two that were just presented by Manuela.
Moved by Councillor Cannon, second by Councillor Chason, resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Municipality of Wawa does hereby receive the following staff reports, a copy of which are attached here too. A, MB 2021-08, technology upgrades. B, MB 2021-09, water and wastewater master plan.
Questions? All in favor? Carried. So under new business, 11.1, accept staff recommendation, approve this submission to the ministry regarding the modernization intake 3 funding application for the technology stream and the review stream water and wastewater master plan. I might have it here.
I have a different.
Or I have it here. As long as you just read it.
I have one here. I just
Okay.
need a mover and a seconder for this one.
Okay, have a moved by Councillor Tate, seconded by Councillor Hatfield.
Resolved that the Council of the Corporation and Municipality of Wawa does hereby accept the staff recommendation as contained in Report MB 2021-08, Technology Upgrades, and Report MB 2021-09, Water and Wastewater Master Plan, and approve the submission to the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing Modernization Intake 3 funding applications for the following: A, technology stream, technology upgrades, and B, review stream, water and wastewater master plan.
Any questions? All in favor? Carried. 11.2, approve expenditure and new fire truck resolution.
Moved by Councillor Chason, seconded by Councillor Cannon, resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Municipality of Wawa does hereby approve the cost of the new fire truck, $503,292.95 to be paid from the Municipal Modernization Fund, which was funded in the amount of $478,600, and the remainder will be from the capital reserves.
Yes.
That was the tanker truck that we talked about a year ago, 2 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, there's just,
Because when you ordered it, I think they told.
Yeah, a couple years, right?
14, 15 months.
so that must be the new ICO there now.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I went by there today. Oh, that looks nice.
yeah,
It's
yeah, I saw
parked-
it yesterday. Yeah.
It's parked at the other place.
I'm
Oh,
not
is that
sure
the
where
red
it's parked.
It's parked-
Well, I see it here. I don't know where it stays.
I think it'll be officially unveiled next week.
oh,
No, okay, it just, that took a long time to come through.
Yes. It didn't take long enough to get done with it.
No, 2 seconds.
But that was good because everything was in.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So all in favor? It's carried. Thank you. There's no notice of motion under bylaws.
Moved by Councillor Cannon, seconded by Councillor Chason, resolved that the following bylaws be introduced and read a first, second, and third time if finally passed, and that the mayor and clerk do sign and seal the same. Any rule of this council to the contrary notwithstanding, bylaw number 3434-21, to confirm the proceedings of council at its meetings held on the 28th day of September 2021 and the 5th day of October 2021. Bylaw number 3435-21, to enter into an agreement with the Automotive Materials Stewardship, Inc. for the municipal hazardous or municipal automotive material services agreement in accordance with the Resource Recovery and Circular Economy Act 2016.
Questions? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. We're going to move into closed session. We have a resolution for that.
Moved by Councillor Schaefer, second by Councillor Cannon. Resolved that this committee proceed in camera at 7:50 PM in order to address the following matters. Two, pertaining to one, personnel matters, Wawa transformational plan reports related to personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. Two, a legal issue, request for road access, personal matters about an identifiable individual. And three, a legal issue, a settlement agreement, advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose.
Favor? Carried, thank you. Just a few minutes to get offline.
Yes, don't mind if I'm back.
Good night, everyone.
That just would give me go shopping again.
Yeah. Smart lady.
All right, we'll resume our regular meeting. Business arising from a closed session, we have the resolution.
Moved by Councillor Cannon, resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Municipality of Wawa does hereby direct the CAO Treasurer to sign the confidential agreement of settlement recommended by legal counsel and dated September 30th, 2021. Sorry, no
This
second.
resolution should have a second.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Blank.
The resolution is moved by Councillor Cannon and seconded by Councillor Chason that we approve the settlement agreement. Any questions? All in favor? It's carried. Our next meeting is Tuesday, October 19th. We have a motion to adjourn.
Moved by Councillor Cannon, resolved that the meeting close at 8:23 p.m.
All in favor? Carried. Thank you.